Look at how our days pass now. From the moment we wake up, we are already running. Messages, notifications, responsibilities, deadlines, everything demands attention at once. We move quickly, we multitask, thinking. We stay busy from morning to night. Yet when we finally sit down in silence, something feels missing. The heart feels heavy, the mind feels tired, and there is a strange emptiness we cannot explain. We tell ourselves we are doing so much, but deep inside, it feels like nothing is truly being achieved. Thinking, this is the reality of a life spent chasing without direction. We confuse movement with progress and noise with purpose. King. We fill our schedules, but we starve our souls. And the more we chase, the faster time seems to slip through our fingers. Days turn into weeks, weeks into years, and we look back wondering where our life went. The problem was never a lack of time. The problem was how that time was lived. When the heart is disconnected from Allah, time loses its weight. You can work all day and still feel behind. You can achieve goals and still feel unsatisfied. Inking. You can be surrounded by people and still feel alone. That constant feeling of being rushed is not just pressure from life. King. It is a sign that Barakah is missing. Because when Allah removes Barakah, even abundance feels tight, and even free time feels crowded. Many people today are exhausted not because they are doing too much, King, but because they are doing too much without Allah. Chasing success, chasing validation, chasing comfort, everyone else seems to have. And the more we compare our lives to others, the more restless we become. Thinking, we start living on deadlines instead of values, on expectations instead of purpose. The heart is always anxious, always racing, never settled. Allah did not create time to break us. He created it to carry us closer to Him. When time feels heavy, when days feel empty despite being full, it is not a failure, it is a message. A message inviting us to pause, reflect, and return. Because peace does not come from doing more, King. It comes from remembering who we are doing it for. And until Allah is placed back at the center, thinking, no amount of effort will ever feel enough. Imagine two people with the exact same 24 hours in a day. One feels stretched thin, overwhelmed, exhausted before the day even ends. The other seems calm, productive, even fulfilled, as if time itself bends to their favor. What is the difference? It is not wealth, it is not talent, and it is not luck, it is Barakah, the hidden blessing from Allah that multiplies not hours, but the impact and benefit of those hours. Barakah is not about having more time, it is about having time that truly matters. Time that brings peace, purpose, and reward. Barakah in time transforms ordinary moments into meaningful ones. A simple act, like sitting with your family or reciting Quran, done with sincerity, thinking, can become more valuable than hours of restless activity. Tasks that once felt heavy and endless become manageable. Opportunities appear unexpectedly. Doors that seemed closed open without struggle. This is the wisdom of Allah's Barakah. It does not come from human effort alone, but from aligning our hearts and actions with His guidance. The truth is, many of us chase more hours, more tasks, more achievements, thinking that business equals progress. Yet, without Allah's blessing, even a fully packed schedule can feel empty, stressful, and unrewarding. Thinking, Barakah is what turns the same 24 hours into something extraordinary. It is what allows you to complete work, thinking, maintain your relationships, nurture your soul, and still have moments of peace, all in the same day. Thinking, Barakah does not demand grand actions. It begins with sincerity in the small things, praying on time, speaking kindly, acting with honesty, being grateful. Each moment infused with Allah's presence becomes a moment of blessing. Thinking, you do not need to force life into a frantic rush because Barakah stretches what you have. Thinking, a short morning spent in prayer can create calm for the rest of your day. A mindful conversation can bring clarity that hours of busy planning cannot. When we seek Barakah, thinking, we stop measuring success by how much we do and start measuring it by how meaningful our time becomes. Thinking, and that is the secret of living fully without exhaustion. Barakah turns scarcity into sufficiency, stress into ease, and ordinary time into priceless moments. Once you begin to notice it, you realize life is not about racing against the clock, King. It is about inviting Allah's blessing into every tick of the second. Thinking, there is a powerful lesson in learning to stop chasing. So often we measure our worth by how hard we run, how much we achieve, and how many doors we manage to open on our own. We believe that success, provision, and peace are only available if we push ourselves to the limit. But the truth is, thinking, when we stop running in anxiety and obsession, that is when Allah begins to provide in ways we could never imagine. Life does not crumble when we pause. Instead, it begins to align itself in ways beyond our control. Thinking, this is the essence of tawakkul, trusting in Allah's plan and leaving the results to Him, King. When you release the constant pressure to chase, you make space for divine facilitation. Thinking, you realize that the struggle is not always yours alone and that some outcomes are not meant to be forced. King, Allah knows what is best for you and He places the right opportunities, people, thinking, and guidance into your path when you stop clinging to frantic control. Sometimes the harder we push, the more resistant life becomes. Sometimes the more we obsess, the less fruitful our efforts. Allah reminds us that true provision comes from Him. Thinking, and our role is to act with sincerity while leaving the results to Him. This does not mean inaction or laziness. It means intentional living, working with effort, but without desperation, without panic, without sacrificing our spiritual well-being in the process. When we learn to rely on Allah, our energy is no longer drained by worry, and our focus becomes clearer. Thinking, we stop wasting time on things that have no benefit, and we start noticing the doors that open effortlessly. Thinking, the guidance that comes at the right moment, the solutions that appear without struggle. Many of us are exhausted because we are chasing what we think we need instead of what Allah has already prepared for us. We try to control everything, and in doing so, we miss the blessings that were ready to meet us. But when we step back, thinking, trust in His wisdom, and let go of the anxious race, life flows in a way that feels lighter, smoother, thinking, and more fulfilling. The key is to work with your hands and your heart, while leaving the rest to Allah. Thinking, He is the provider, the planner, the one who arranges our affairs better than we ever could. Thinking, and when we stop chasing in panic and start trusting in Him, we find that He was already running to us all along. Thinking, the beauty of Barakah is that it often comes quietly. Thinking, through acts that seem small but carry immense weight when done with sincerity. Thinking, one of the most powerful ways to invite Barakah into your day is through obedience to Allah, King. Performing your prayers on time, speaking truthfully, earning through halal means, showing kindness to others, thinking, and being grateful for every blessing. These are not just rituals. They are gateways to a life filled with blessing, ease, and fulfillment. When these actions become consistent habits, thinking, they transform ordinary routines into moments of divine presence, and suddenly, time feels more abundant. Think about your daily life. How often do we rush through tasks, barely noticing them, only to feel drained and unaccomplished at the end of the day? But when we consciously connect our actions to Allah, the same tasks carry weight, purpose, and reward. Preparing for work or school, helping a neighbor, thinking, even mundane chores can become acts of worship when intention is aligned with sincerity. Barakah does not always manifest as extra hours in the day. It manifests as ease, clarity, and the ability to complete what once felt impossible. Obedience also protects our time from being wasted. When we dedicate moments to prayer, reflection, and gratitude, we naturally prioritize what truly matters. Thinking. We stop filling our schedules with meaningless business and start investing in actions that nourish both the heart and the mind. The ripple effect of obedience spreads quietly but powerfully. Relationships improve. Work becomes more effective. Stress diminishes and the mind gains peace. Time, once tight and overwhelming, starts to feel manageable, even joyful. Overthinking. It is also important to recognize that Barakah is a test as much as it is a gift. Thinking. When Allah grants ease and blessing in your day, it is an opportunity to reflect, be grateful, and continue living with mindfulness. Small, sincere actions, repeated consistently, accumulate to create a life where every hour is valuable and every moment carries potential. The secret is simple: thinking. Align your daily actions with Allah's guidance, infuse them with sincerity, and watch as the weight of life lifts. Obedience transforms ordinary routines into extraordinary opportunities, and the blessing of Allah turns even a busy day into a peaceful, fruitful one. When you invite Allah into your daily actions, time stops feeling like an enemy and begins to feel like a gift. There is a hidden cost to ignoring Allah while chasing the world. Many of us measure success by how much we can achieve, how many tasks we can complete, or how far we can climb in our careers. Often forgetting that true success is measured by our relationship with Allah and the peace within our hearts. When we sacrifice prayer, honesty, integrity, and time with family just to chase worldly gains, thinking we may achieve more, but we are left spiritually empty, emotionally exhausted, and constantly restless. Thinking, the heart knows when it has been neglected, and no amount of achievement can fill that void. The danger is that this pursuit of dunya tricks us into thinking we are in control, that we can manipulate life to our favor if we just work harder or move faster. But in reality, chasing life without Allah removes barakah from our time, our energy, and our accomplishments. Days may pass with constant activity, but we feel heavier, busier, and more drained than ever. Opportunities may seem scarce, solutions may seem delayed, and even the things we thought we had gained begin to feel hollow. The more we chase without connection to Allah, the further we drift from the very peace we are searching for. We also risk burning out, not only physically but spiritually. The more we focus on what the world demands, the less we nurture our soul. We forget to pause, reflect, and seek Allah's guidance. We replace prayer with panic, gratitude with complaint, and intention with obsession. And when our spiritual well-being is neglected, everything else feels heavier. Work, family, responsibilities, they all become burdens rather than blessings. The truth is, Allah is always providing, guiding, and blessing us even when we are unaware. But when we ignore Him, we are cutting ourselves off from the source of true ease and abundance. Barakah does not come from speed, force, or thinking, or frantic effort. It comes from connection, obedience, and mindful reliance on Allah. By sacrificing the spiritual for the worldly, we are often left with neither peace nor lasting success. Thinking. The reminder is clear: chasing life without Allah is a heavy cost we cannot afford. True ease, fulfillment, thinking, and blessing come when we prioritize Him, even amidst our busy days. And when we place Allah back at the center, we discover that life does not feel like a chase, it feels like a gift. Life often feels like a race, thinking, with everyone running in different directions, trying to catch what seems just out of reach. Thinking, we compare ourselves to others, measure success by achievements, and forget to pause and reflect on what truly matters. But the choice to live a Barakah-filled life is not about doing more or running faster. It is about living intentionally, with Allah at the center of every moment. It is about slowing down, realigning priorities, and inviting His presence into daily routines. When we make that choice, life begins to shift in ways that feel effortless and deeply fulfilling. Choosing a life of Barakah starts with small thinking, deliberate actions. It is saying the prayers on time, taking moments to be grateful, speaking kindly, acting honestly, thinking and caring for our family and community. These acts may seem ordinary, but when done with sincerity and mindfulness, they transform ordinary hours into blessed moments. The difference is not in what we do, but in the presence of Allah in what we do. When Allah is invited into our day, He stretches our time, eases our burdens, thinking, and fills our hearts with peace, even amidst responsibilities and challenges. It also requires letting go of unnecessary worry and the constant chase for validation, wealth, or recognition. When we stop comparing our lives to others and trusting solely in our own efforts, we open the door for Allah to guide our path. Opportunities begin to appear when they are meant to. Solutions come with ease, and moments that once felt overwhelming become manageable. The heart feels lighter, and the mind gains clarity, because we are no longer carrying the weight of endless striving alone. Living a Barakah-filled life is not passive. It is intentional and active, but it is a different kind of effort. Thinking, one that aligns our actions with faith, our goals with purpose, and our hearts with gratitude. When we embrace this approach, we discover that life does not have to be a constant chase. Instead, thinking, it becomes a journey filled with meaning, balance, and peace. The truth is simple: when Allah is placed first, everything else falls into place. Time becomes abundant, moments become significant, and life transforms from a race into a gift. And when we make that choice, we no longer chase life. We live it fully, with Barakah in every step.